Do you want the good news or the bad news first? The good news is that the Trades Union Congress have launched a campaign for workers in the UK to be given a £15 minimum wage. The TUC have borrowed a slogan from workers in the US and urged supporters to fight for 15. They correctly point out that workers' pay has flatlined, while corporate profits and executive pay have soared. And they've urged the government to set a new minimum wage target at 75% of median pay, up from the 66% target set at present. The TUC have demanded that the government return the UK to normal wage growth, i.e., the upwards trajectory of the nation's pay packets before the financial crisis. This campaign will come as welcome news to low earners. The price of many food staples has already gone up far beyond the rate of inflation. A 2-pint carton of milk at Morrison's has gone up by 56%, own label baked beans by 50%, and a bag of penne pasta at Asda costs 60% more than it did a year ago. So, beefing up the earnings of workers on minimum wage would, therefore, be a great help to people struggling with the cost of living. The bad news is that the TUC's planned pathway to £15 an hour gets there by the year 2030. This is going to take a bit of explaining, so bear with me. The TUC plan has two moving parts. The first is that wage growth returns to its trend between 1997 and 2009, where the median wage increases by 3.8% every year between 2025 and 2030. And the second bit is that the minimum wage is set as a higher proportion of that average wage, so 75% rather than the 58% it is right now at this moment. So in 2030, when the average wage is £20, minimum wage earners get 15. Basically, that means workers on minimum wage get a bigger bite of a slowly growing apple. Are you with me? The TUC are clear that these are conservative estimates. If pay growth after 2024 were faster, we'd hit a £15 minimum wage quicker. If pay grew by 5% every year in the same time period, we'd get a £15 minimum wage in 2027. And if it was 6%, it would happen in 2026. The problem with the TUC plan is that with inflation forecast to hit 18.6% in January, workers are having to absorb punishing real terms pay cuts in the meantime. What is meant to happen for the next 3 years when annual gas bills are about £6,000 and everything costs nearly a fifth more than it used to? It seems kind of weird for the TUC to frame their minimum wage plan in a way which isn't all that challenging to those who are getting richer now while we're all getting poorer. Unlike the inflation crisis of the 1970s, corporate profits are at record highs. Here's what James Medway had to say about that on a previous episode of Tisky Sour.
If prices are going up, but wages aren't going up, somebody somewhere is making a lot of money out of that, and it's not people being paid wages and salaries. It's somebody making big profits. You can see it really obviously. In the case of BP and Shell, last year between them made £40 billion profit. That is because prices have gone up, not changed anything they've done, not invented a new kind of oil and they're making more money out of it. There's not magic new gas they're supplying. Its prices have gone up, so they make more money. If we want to tackle the cost of living crisis, you have to squeeze profits to do that. You have to take on the profits that are being made. And one way to do that is to just increase the amount of pay that you're giving to people on the other side of that equation. So that's the argument there. Really, this is about redistribution. It's about giving people a fair slice of what we produce in this country and correcting for the fact we've basically underpaid people for at least a decade now.
It's not that the TUC proposal is unrealistic. It's that it doesn't touch the fact that the balance between pay and profit has been in the favour of obscene levels of profit for the last decade. So why do we have to wait 5 years to tinker with pay growth when you could redistribute profits downwards now?
£15 an hour by 2030 is nowhere near fast enough. It's way too little, way too late. Every time I check the weather app, I'm like, the idea that we're even going to make it to 2030, as far as I'm concerned, just optimistic. The scale of intervention we need is something like a general strike, and the TUC, as the representative body of all of our different unions, would be should be in the perfect position to call for something like that. We are seeing like a slight shift. It's not enough, but it's a slight shift in the orientation of some of these of institutions like the TUC, because typically, the TUC normally just kind of pretty conservatively follows whatever the low pay commission say, and this is them coming out for £15 an hour wage, albeit way too late, is however small, it is a shift in the orientation, because it is outflanking the low pay commission. And that shift is a result of mounting pressure from civil society. The Enough is Enough campaign, the Don't Pay campaign, this kind of growing sense that not only is there unrest and anger, but that anger is being channeled into organized action, whether it's in the form of a campaign like Don't Pay, or in the form of more people organizing within their unions. There is a sense that, the streets are getting hot, and institutions like the TUC are far too slowly starting to think, okay, we need to listen to this pressure that is growing. And so what we should take from that, alongside our disappointment at the idea of how late this they are proposing that this development can take place by, alongside we can hold that disappointment, but we can also take this as a sign that pressure is working. That everyone who signed up and committed to not paying their energy bills, that signed up to the Don't Pay campaign, everyone who went to that opening rally of the Enough is Enough campaign, everyone who's balloting in their unions to strike, that they are making a difference, and that this is only the beginning, and that it's having an impact, and it's an impact that needs to be kept up. So by escalating and making it clear that we know that far more is possible far sooner, and that we will demand more, and we will continue to apply that pressure, and not just in the form of write and think pieces or A to B marches, but by actually taking action and organizing, we can hopefully begin to push these institutions or bypass them entirely and put those concrete things on the table, like public ownership, like a £15 an hourly wage now, not in 10 years now. But I think this should be an indication, the slight shift, as small as it is, should be an indication of the fact that there is power to be had there, and we can claim it. People are starting to hear, what the streets are saying. So let's give them something to listen to. So, disappointed, yes, but also, there is an empowerment within there, because however slow the wheels are moving, they are moving, and they're being pushed by civil society campaigns and union organizing.